For our annual tradition of finding out who is the best of the best in the 1UP Superstar Series, this is our All-Star Weekend, and it begins right here with the All-Star Open, where 6 drivers will transfer through to the main event, 5 on their speed, and 1 through their popularity. 40 laps and 32 cars will decide that and a lot more here at the Valley of Speed, Lebanon Valley in eastern New York. And alongside me to bring you the great racing action in this Open and in the All-Star race itself is James Ellison once again with us. And there's a lot to go over. There's a lot of good drivers starting up at the front here today, but only 5 of these 32 will transfer in on their speed, plus the fan vote winner.
Yeah, this is going to be real exciting, and got quite a few names here that you would have thought would have been in victory lane by this point. Like, you got Lane Sanders, who's had a mixed bag so far, but his teammates had some good runs, so that's why he's not in the Open. But yeah, Zayden Davidson also could have had a win too. J.D. Martin, I would argue Joshua Michaels probably could have had a win by now, as good as seasons he's been having. But who knows? Maybe they'll be in next year's All-Star race. But right now, there's a lot of spots open for them to be able to make the All-Star race this way.
And who knows, maybe they'll be in this year's All-Star race if they finish in the top 5 here today. They're all starting up at the front. Who knows if they'll finish there at the end of 40 laps time. As we can now bring you to starting lineup, 32 cars entered this Open, hoping to make the All-Star race itself later today. Lane Sanders gets the pole position, though. He lines up alongside Zayden Davidson. Jason Parker, a big surprise in that 76 car. He has not made a single points race this season, but he shows he's got the speed in the BTB Chevrolet to qualify up in the 3rd position. J.D. Martin and Joshua Michaels, teammates at Robbers Racing, round out the top 5. But in reality, there is a lot more drivers that we can talk about in this field that have the possibility of making this All-Star race, and very well could, starting deeper in the field. It's just a matter of can they gain enough positions in the time allotted.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few. Zachary Fissler, James Silverfox, Austin Runkle's been having some good runs. Duke Anzac, he's been having, well, his team's been having a pretty good season all the way throughout the league. And excuse me, and again, my apologies. I am looking at. I've got a horse in this race. The one car with my top driver in the Turbo Truck Series, Jacob Holtz, making an attempt here. He'll get some experience if nothing else. But of course, I would nothing more for him to try as hard as just like everybody else is going to.
So with that being said, we have 32 drivers looking to join the 20-car field in the All-Star race. There are 20 that are already in. We'll see which 6 other drivers will join them there in 40 laps. So with that being said, we've got all 32 cars ready to rock and roll here at the Valley of Speed, and the green flag is going to come out in just a moment's time, so stay tuned for that. Getting set for some good racing here at Lebanon Valley. Lane Sanders and Zayden Davidson take us to the green flag, and the All-Star Open is underway with a pretty even start for the front few rows. But as they dive it off into turn 1 for the first time, who knows who's going to get the advantage? It looks like it's going to be the 87 out of turn 2 and down the very short back straightaway as Michaels tries to make a 3-wide move.
Trying to make it, and it looks like, Parker cleared Freeman, who just found the wall, it looks like.
Yeah, Freeman bounced off the wall off of turn 4. Thankfully, he missed that gate at the beginning of the straightaway, as it looks like Stanley Andrews has a little bit of trouble in the 41. He is going to fall off the lead lap, and he is going to have to rely on a miracle to get back into the running here. Because remember, if we get a caution, free pass rules still apply, so he's going to have to rely on one of those to get back into this race.
And it's here, Jason Parker. We mentioned him being up there. He's slipping back just a little bit. As we're keeping an eye on these top 3, I've got a feeling these 3 are going to definitely be, maybe top 4 could very well be a solidly in the All-Star race, but still a little too early, even for a short race like this.
But here comes Ricky Freeman Jr. trying to make a move on Ryan Soper in the 84. That is for the final transfer spot. But here comes J.D. Martin down the inside of Zayden Davidson trying to get the runners-up spot. He's going to get it, hopefully going into turn 1. He's going to go for even more. He's going to go for the lead on Lane Sanders as they come off turn 2.
Yeah, that's the last thing Sanders wants to see. I mean, he's still got a bit of a cushion to the back of the transfer zone, but he would rather be at the front the whole way through. But JD's not making that easy.
And he takes the lead from Lane Sanders, does JD Martin. So move the 66 up to the top spot after 4 laps, entering lap 6 now. And JD, he really should be in this main All-Star race by this point as we take a look at the back end of the field, trying to make some gains. You see Stanley Andrews did get back onto the racetrack. He is 1 lap down, but Sanders and Martin continue to do battle for the lead, settled in favor for the moment in the 66's favor, but Sanders is not letting him go that easy.
Yeah, he does not want to give it up, but it looks like for the moment he'll have to take a minute, rally back, and see if he can't do a move right here. And there we go, just like I was already talking about.
And these two are putting on an incredible show in front of these New York fans who came out to see the All-Stars do battle, and they're seeing the Open drivers do give them just as good a fight at the front of the field. But it looks like JD Martin has won that battle for the moment, while Zayden Davidson runs a bit of a lonely 3rd place, but that's plenty enough for him to advance to the main event, as a battle for 4th continues to rage on between Michaels and Ryan Soper in the 84.
Yeah, Soper was able to hold off a challenge from RFJ, and now he's trying to give himself a little bit of transfer security, as I would call it. And well, Michaels has got a fast car. We've seen how fast that 6 is, so it's going to be hard for Soper to get by him unless something happens.
But never count anything out at this place, because remember, we've seen some pretty chaotic moments in this race in years past. Flashback to last year in the main event when we had a massive pile-up off of Turn 4 in the All-Star race itself. You never know what can happen here. As it looks like Michael's starting to draw closer to Davidson for 3rd, the Soper just starts to fall off the 6 a little bit as we enter the 2nd quarter of this race.
Yeah, but and you looking around at all the different drivers who these guys have stretched it out ahead of everyone else a little bit. Even some who are still trying to find a way into the transfer zone. But you got these guys in the back half of the top 10 and gals who are all trying to fight for positions here. It's just too bad that none of them are going to really matter in the long run if they can't get into the top 5.
No, but we're seeing some great racing throughout the entire field here in the Open, from 1st place JD Martin all the way back to 31st on track, who is the last car on the lead lap currently. But Joshua Michaels, we've got an eye on him right now. He is doing so good this season, it'd be a shame for him not to make the All-Star race. But it's his teammate JD Martin who has been out front since the end of lap 5, and he is starting to pull out a bit of a gap on Lane Sanders. So it looks like the top 3 or so have settled themselves out in front fairly solidly, but from Joshua Michaels on back, it's going to be a war zone at trying to get into the All-Star race from there.
Oh, absolutely. And one person I couldn't help but notice that for a little while was starting to make a march deeper into the top 10. That 53, Liam Nolan, he started 21st, and he was trying to make a march forward, but as we look at the back of the field and look at my car, which, all I really wanted to do was put Beholtz in there for some experience, and he's getting it as JD Martin continues to get some leading experience here.
And of course, JD Martin, he's been in this All-Star race before. He knows what it's like to race in the big event, and now he's trying to make his way through in the Open. But don't look now, we've got a 3-car battle for the final transfer spot, and here comes this East Sparkplugs machine, the 22 Ford of Patrick Smith. He started 11th in this race. He's all the way up to 6th now, and now he's getting ready to make a move on Ryan Soper to make his way into the transfer spot.
Yeah, Patrick Smith, he started just outside the top 10 and 11th, and he would love nothing more than to be able to make it into this show, and he's gunning for it, that's certain right there.
I believe this is Patrick Smith's first time in the Open in a while, because he was in the All-Star race last year on account of his Nitro National Championship a few years back. But now he's just doing whatever he can to make his way into the Open. He's doing a pretty good job. He's battling that 84 very hard for it as Soper just washes up into the outside wall a little bit. That should give the 22 a clear shot to get out in the 5th position.
And he does so handily, and now Soper's under attack from Freeman, who would love nothing more than to be able to get up in there and get back by Smith for that final transfer spot, but got a little bit of work to do, especially with Soper still in the way.
But as we take the halfway point in this open, it's flown by really quickly, but J.D. Martin has dominated. Lane Sanders led the opening few laps, but has settled into second. That should easily get him through to the All-Star race. Davidson, Michaels, they're third and fourth, but the real battle is back here for the final transfer spot between Patrick Smith, Ricky Freeman Jr., and Ryan Soper. But these three got to be careful, because looking further back, Daniel Bouchard is making a run at it.
Yeah, these guys keep fighting. He'll be right there next, and it'll be a 4-car battle. So I would say settle it down, but that's not a good idea with the halfway point already been and gone. So Patrick Smith's going to have to play the defense for the rest of this race, it looks like.
He's going to have to fight for all he can here in this open, as it looks like. Yeah, we're looking now at Zayden Davidson in the 4. He's the one Revolution Racing car not yet in the All-Star race, on account that he has not won a race yet in his career. Boy, would he love to make the All-Star race with his teammates, his championship-winning teammates in the main event. But he's got a little work to do still. He's got to hang on to that third place for another 15 laps or so.
And I'll tell you, someone who's got to hang on to their position, Joshua Michaels. He's seeing that 22 grow bigger and bigger, and now briefly going to the side now. Inside of him is Patrick Smith is on a charge.
Yeah, he started 11th, like we said, and he is now making the pass on Joshua Michaels to get up into the 4th position. So put Patrick Smith now into a bit of safety. Now Michaels is on the hot seat for Ricky Freeman Jr. and Ryan Soper to try and jump on in the later stages of this race.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting to see how good this car can stay for Patrick Smith, because he's got a little bit of work to do to get up to the top 3, as we're looking back at the back of the field here again. And
yeah, we're just trying to see.
I would not be surprised.
We were just trying to see how close Martin was to lapping people, because we only have 14 laps to go now, 13, but there's still an opportunity for lap traffic to be a factor in this one.
And looks like the first car that's going to beat it is the one, which had a great run the last points race out, and then now here a comparison of experience between Audrey Anzac and Jacob Buchholz, but that's all it is experience for him, and I'm sure he's having a fun time, even if he's not going to make the show. But he's not going to have a fun time if the leaders start roughing him up.
Yeah, but we're coming to 11 to go, and I think he's far enough ahead to where it won't be too big of an issue for him to stay on the lead lap. But the top 5 has pretty much gapped themselves now to 6th place. Ricky Freeman Jr. between Michaels and Freeman is now 0.8 of a second. So it might be a little safe, but if Freeman and Soper start to put on a big charge in the late stages in the final 10 laps, we could have a real fight on our hands in the very closing stages.
And right now, that fight is going to be between Michaels and Freeman. If Freeman can get there. Right now, he's got a little bit of work to do to catch up to that 6.
Although he did gain 1/10 of a second on that last lap, it's down to 7/10 between Michaels and Freeman as we're into the final 10 laps now. Davidson's doing a good job hanging on the 3rd. Sanders is solidly in 2nd. J.D. Martin's obviously leading this thing, which he has been doing since lap 4. But for everyone else, they got to really put the power down or hope for a late yellow to spice things up, because we're running out of time here in the open.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work to do in a short amount of time, but we've seen crazier things happen before.
And at this track, no less. It's very well possible. But we now have taken 7 laps to go here at Lebanon Valley, with J.D. Martin solidly in the lead of this race by a full second over Lane Sanders. Zayden Davidson for 0.8 back in 3rd. Patrick Smith another second back in 4th. And then the fun begins, because Joshua Michaels' lead over Ricky Freeman Jr. is down to just half a second.
Half a second, and not really shrinking by all that much, at least not the last lap time by, but You never know. Freeman might be trying to save stuff, but I would imagine if he's saving anything, he better stop saving.
Because we're into the final 5 laps. You can't be saving anymore if you're going to have any hope of getting into this All-Star race. And there is Freeman. He's caught the back of Joshua Michaels. This is going to be a tight battle for the final transfer spot. And remember, if these two get together and crash out of the race themselves, that bumps Ryan Soper into the main event.
Yeah, and for a while he was in that final transfer spot, and then people shuffled him out of the picture. And right now, Michaels, he's in danger of being shuffled out as the time is really winding down here.
Coming to 3 laps to go, and Joshua Michaels, these are going to be some really important laps for him if he's going to keep Freeman behind him. But what a job, though, by Michaels' teammate J.D. Martin to keep the lead of this race for as long as he has. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with in this All-Star race, which we're going to know the final lineup of in 2 laps' time.
2 laps and a lot of 4 knowns and one unknown as far as the transfer positions go. Well, then of course the fan vote. But right now, one thing's for certain: it's going to take something catastrophic for J.D. Martin to lose this one.
With the white flag in the air, we got 1 lap to go in the All-Star Open. J.D. Martin doing a fantastic job out front. His lead is 1.23 seconds as he heads down the back straightaway for the final time. J.D. Martin's been shut out of victory lane for a long time, but he's going to get to victory lane here, even if it's just in the All-Star Open. That's enough for him to transfer into the main event. Martin makes the All-Star race. Lane Sanders in second. He makes the All-Star race in second. Zayden Davidson, third, will also make his first All-Star race. Patrick Smith in fourth, and Joshua Michaels, just by 0.2 of a second, holds off Ricky Freeman Jr., and Michaels takes the final transfer spot. That's 5 of our 6 transfers that we know of right now as we look at the rest of the top 10. Soper, Nolan, Bouchard, and Austin Runkle. But we're looking a little further back because even though he had a struggle at the start of this race and finished a lap down, Stanley Andrews got enough of the votes in his favor. He will be the last driver into the All-Star race.
And how about that? That you gotta love the effort that he put in, even for the problem he had at the beginning of this one. And it's good of him to be able to be in this race, for the All-Star event and have this opportunity. I am really excited to see if he can do something with that.
So with that being said, we have our 6 transfer drivers. J.D. Martin, Lane Sanders, Zayden Davidson, Patrick Smith, Joshua Michaels, and Stanley Andrews. They will be in the All-Star race later today, which we will bring you very soon. So, from James Ellison and from myself as well, we say goodbye temporarily from the Valley of Speed, but we'll be back very soon for the start of the 2024 One-Up All-Star race. It's going to be a good one. We hope to see you there.